What if I told you your future is decided before you even know you've made a choice? There is a moment so small, so fleeting, you almost never notice it. A moment so delicate that it hides between the beats of your own heart. It's the breath before action, the pause before a word, the flicker in your chest before your mind even wakes up, and in that fraction of a second, your destiny has already shifted. The train of your life is already moving. The track has been selected. The quantum field has locked onto a path. Here's the part most people will never believe. You didn't consciously choose it. You weren't weighing pros and cons. You weren't making a list or thinking it. The choice was made somewhere deeper. We grow up thinking our decisions start in the mind. That first we think, then we decide, then we act. But that's not how it really works. The decision, the action, the outcome, they begin somewhere beyond thought. Somewhere your body and your energy are already speaking to the universe before. And once you understand that, you stop living as a passenger and you start steering the ship. From the very first moment reality takes shape. In the 1980s, neuroscientist Benjamin Libby made a discovery that shook the foundations of free will. It didn't happen in a mystical monastery. It happened in a laboratory, with wires, sensors, and stopwatches. He was studying something simple. When a person chooses to press a button, what happens in the brain? But what he found was anything but simple. Libet discovered that the brain's readiness potential, the tiny electrical signal that triggers action, fires milliseconds before you're even aware. You've made a decision. Your hand moves. Before your mind says yes, your body commits. Before your thoughts arrive. And if that's true, for something as small as pressing a button, what does it mean for the moments that define your life? The choice to say yes. The decision to walk away. The instant you meet someone who will change everything about your future. It means those moments are decided in the hidden space before thought, where subconscious patterns, body signals, and energy frequencies cast the deciding vote, while your conscious mind is still lagging behind, narrating the story. Quantum theory tells us something that sounds like science fiction. All possible futures exist at once. They're not waiting for you. Out there in some far-off galaxy, they exist right here. Right now, suspended in a field of infinite possibility. Every outcome, every version of you exists in superposition, all at the same time, until something tips the scale that something is your state. Not the state you say you're in, not the mood you can fake on the outside, but the deep instantaneous vibration that flashes in that fraction of a second before the mind interferes. If that state carries fear, you step into a future that matches fear. If it radiates certainty, you lock onto a reality that mirrors certainty. This is not fate. It's not luck. It's physics. The universe, the field, isn't responding to the long-drawn out affirmations you rehearse or the perfect vision boards you build. It's responding to the raw, unfiltered signal you broadcast in that invisible instant, the one you don't even realize you're sending. Here's the problem. Most people have no idea this moment even exists. They wake up, check their phone, scroll through yesterday's stories, make coffee, get in the car, and they think their day is just unfolding. But what they don't see is that the most important decision of their day was already made before they stepped out of bed. If your subconscious is filled with old fears, limiting beliefs, unresolved wounds. That's the frequency you're broadcasting, and the quantum field will always match it. This is why you keep meeting the same kind of people. This is why the same frustrations keep finding you. This is why you say, "Why does this always happen to me?" It's not because you're cursed. It's not because the world is against you. It's because, in less than a second, your energy keeps selecting the same timeline over and over again. Your conscious mind may want change, but your body and your subconscious are fluent in the language of repetition. They crave the familiar even if the familiar hurts. And until you learn to spot that fraction of a second, until you learn to intercept it, you will keep walking the same loop, mistaking it for life. But here's the truth. The moment you become aware of that fraction of a second, the pre-selection window, you can intercept it. You can redirect it. You can shift your entire trajectory before it locks in. This isn't about working harder. It isn't about endless rituals or exhausting yourself with more. It's about alignment. It's about learning how to send a different signal in that microscopic instant when the field is still fluid, when the future is still undecided. In physics, this is like observing a particle before it collapses, gently nudging it toward the outcome you want. In spirituality, it's the sacred pause between stimulus and response, the moment where reaction transforms into creation. When you master this, awareness slows the autopilot, it hands the controls back to you, and you start steering, not after the fact, but at the exact point when reality takes shape. The shift isn't dramatic. It's not fireworks and lightning bolts. It's subtle, it's precise, and it changes everything. Imagine standing in the ocean. A wave approaches. Once it crashes, there's no changing where it will carry you. But before it breaks, there's a brief, magical moment where a small shift in your stance, a change in your balance, can take you anywhere you want to go. That's the pre-selection window, the space between what could be and what will be. At first, you may not notice it. It hides behind daily habits and mental noise, but as you train yourself, you'll feel it, a quiet tightening in your chest, a sudden image flashing in your mind, a tiny whisper in your body that says yes or no. That's the door, and once you know it's there, you can choose to step through. You can align yourself with the timeline you actually want, instead of letting the old one close around you. Catching this moment is like tuning into a faint frequency while standing in the middle of a crowded street. At first, all you hear is the noise. The mind is loud. The world is louder. But slowly, you start picking it up. You begin noticing the quickening of your breath before an idea arrives, the flicker of excitement before doubt barges in, the deep stillness that appears before you take a step forward. These are not random sensations. They are signals. They are the body's way of saying, the field is still open. The future is still yours to choose. The more you notice them, the easier they become to catch, and once you can catch them, you can redirect them. And when you redirect them, you redirect your life. Your body knows before your mind does. It has always known the human nervous system is more than flesh and electricity. It is an antenna. It picks up information from the field long before your thoughts even register it. Sometimes it's a rush of warmth through your chest. Sometimes it's a clench in your stomach. Sometimes it's a release in your shoulders, like tension melting away. These micro signals are the earliest indicators of alignment. Ignore them, and the old program takes over. Catch them, and you've just found the steering wheel. The language of the body is subtle, but it's honest. It cannot fake resonance. And when you learn to listen, you will always know which future is calling you. In quantum physics, there's a principle called the observer effect. It's the idea that the act of observation changes the outcome. But here's the part most people miss. The first observation is not all your subconscious observes before you do. It's already locking in a reality, while your conscious mind is still deciding what to look at. If your subconscious is trained to expect fear, it observes fear into form. If it's trained on trust, it collapses trust into reality. This is why you can't fake the signal. The quantum field doesn't listen to what you say. It listens to who you are in the moment before you act. Neuroscience has its own explanation: predictive coding. Your brain isn't passively recording reality like a camera. It's actively predicting it, moment by moment, based on past experience and emotional memory. If you expect failure, your brain prepares for failure. If you expect rejection, it prepares for rejection. If you expect abundance, it starts filtering reality for opportunities to match abundance. Here's the catch. The quantum field doesn't care if the expectation is conscious or unconscious, it simply mirrors it. So, if you want to change your life, you have to intercept the prediction before it becomes the broadcast. Your subconscious will choose what feels familiar, even if it's painful, because to the survival brain, the known equals safety. This is why people stay in jobs that drain them, relationships that break them, cycles that keep them small. It's not weakness, it's programming. When you catch the pre-selection moment, you can choose differently. And when you choose it often enough, the unknown becomes the new familiar. That's when transformation sticks. Every single day, you have dozens of opportunities to shift timelines. The pause before you reply to a message. The second before you say yes or no. The breath before you walk into a room. Most people waste them. They move from but when you spot them, they become the most powerful leverage points you will ever have. They are your direct access to rewriting the future in real time. When you catch the moment, hold it. Don't rush to explain it. Don't argue with it. Don't water it down with doubt. Feel it as if it's already done. Let your breath carry it. In the quantum field, reality collapses according to your state, not your words. If you can hold the state, even for seconds, you tilt the scale toward your chosen timeline. The moment you choose differently, resistance arrives. Old thoughts surface. Old emotions come back. Old fears knock on the door. This isn't proof that you're failing. It's proof that you're shifting. It's the system asking, "Are you sure?" Most people see this as a stop sign. But in truth, it's the final gateway. If you stay steady, the new timeline locks in. You might only get a handful of these moments in a day, and they might last less than a second, but catching them consistently is enough to reshape your reality faster than months of external effort, because you're no longer trying to catch up with life after it's happened. You're shaping it as it happens. And when that becomes your habit, life stops feeling like a battle and starts feeling like a current carrying you forward. The universe speaks first in whispers. Shouting comes as delays, as detours, as wake-up calls you didn't want. So catch the whisper, catch the flicker, catch the fraction of a second before the choice is sealed. That's the only place where change is instant, right now. You are standing in the pre-selection window. What you feel, what you believe, what you choose in this instant is already shaping your reality. Choose deliberately, choose consciously, and the field will have no choice but to match you. The future isn't waiting for you to arrive. It's forming in every breath. And the moment you realize that, you stop waiting for change and you start collapsing into it.